Well, g'day, Max here again. Welcome back to the shop. So today we're in the old shop as we have to catch up with a lot of the machining procedures on the parts of our JFMT lathe. So we need to really get these knocked out in a timely fashion, as I've got a lot of other stuff coming up in regards to the new shop. So it's coming up where I've got to get quite involved with the power side of things, digging in trenches and laying cables and things like that. So of course that's very important, as we need power over there, especially three-phase power. So let's swing you around and we'll take you through some of the jobs that we have to do. Right, I can drill. I can tap these holes now. 1/8 BSP for our 90-degree oilers. Then we can take it out of the machine and we'll continue the depth of the hole with the battery drill. I've gone as far as I can with this long series drill here, and I've just run out of reach with it. This I'll hold a bit of oil in these now, so should be good. Right, we'll get it flipped up the other way now and we'll drill our cross holes. Okay, we're just using a spot drill to get a start for our drill bit, and if I've measured everything correctly, once we start drilling down with our long drill, we should drill down 70 millimeters and then intersect with that long cross hole that we drilled in previously. And we're through. So we have our compound slide and our tailstock base ready for a light stone down and reassembly. So the oil grooves in the compound slide I did off camera, as it's the same process as the oil grooves you've seen me do on here. I did radius the grooves, the various corner edges. You have to radius them so it helps drag the oil through as opposed to scraping the oil off. I'll show you that in the next clip on a piece of paper. I've also given them, done a bit of flaking on them to help with oil retention and to help reduce stick slip. Now, any resemblance between my flaking and proper half moon crescent shaped flaking is purely coincidental. So we'll give these a clean down and we'll start the reassembly process. So next we have a internal oil groove to do on our tailstock. So we'll pop that up on the mill next and get that one out the way. So imagine this is a cross section cut through the part that we've just done our oil grooves in. So we have our oil groove here, which we've just done with the ball-nosed end mill. So what will happen with this, as your part slides across the top the other slideway, the oil that's in this area here tends to get scraped off because of this sharp edge. So what I'm doing there is we just put a very slight, we've got to break that sharp edge. Ideally it has a radius, but that can be quite difficult to do. That has the effect then of when the slide moves, it actually drags the oil up with it instead of scraping it off. So that's why that's done. So we have our tailstock back set up in the bridge port, and we have a boring bar set up. Now this boring bar we're going to do some slotting, as we're going to put a blind slot. That's a slot that doesn't have open ends in the 12 o'clock position for the tailstock quill. Now that should alleviate the rust issues that were getting created at the 6 o'clock position, so it should allow oil to levitate around the quill where it had no way of doing that before. So we're just going to manually slot this. I have a tool, a bit of an oddball. We'll show you the tool when we get the slotting complete, because it does have an oddball grind on it due to the nature of the slot that we have to do. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to be moving the table backwards and forwards to create our slot. So we'll get you propped up somewhere and we'll manually slot our oil groove. Of course, once it's slotted, we'll put a oiler up the top here. So I had to put an indicator to gauge our travel in the downward direction on the knee. Now, being as we're right at the top of the travel on the knee, on this machine it gets a bit tight as there is a little bit of wear in it. So normally you take the cuts on the rise, but we're doing it on the fall. So you can get a bit of stick, well, the knee wanting to stick. So with the indicator there, I can see exactly what's happening. Okay, so we'll come down and 0.05 millimeters. And that's exactly what I mean, just feel that jolt. Another 0.05. So you get the gist of what's going on. Now I have the stops set for the table just so I know when it's going to stop. And I'm not using the power feed as we have a fair bit of weight hanging off the end of the table, and it does load up that power feed a bit more than what it would normally do. So let's see if we can get a shot down the end of the hole. Probably not, the light's going to blow it out. Anyway, I'll keep going with this, and when I'm to a suitable depth, we'll bring you back and we'll show you what it looks like. Okay, I think let's remove our boring tool now. I've gone deep enough with the groove. We'll have a look inside. I just have the tool gripped in an R8 collet. Okay. Okay, that's our lubrication groove cut in. So we'll get the cross holes drilled next so the oilers can go in. So the tool that we were using, I've had to use the 45-degree hole in this bar to get the reach. So pretty well a 90-degree face where it was cutting, as we're cutting cast iron. Now there's a lot of back rake and a very sharp keen edge on the tool. So the reason why we had a lot of back brake is because we're actually plunging in to take our cuts. So if we had the back rate to a minimum, it would be very difficult to start the cut. And as we're only taking light cuts, it worked well. So we're lined up just with a little pointer. So we're just going to drill through for a ball type oiler. .5/16 drill bit. So that's all the required machining on this part of the tailstock. So we have our cross slide off the lathe set up in the bridge port. So we're going to give some of these oil grooves a bit of attention. So the existing groove that's in there, it's a bit of a dismal affair. It's a very shallow groove running at a very shallow angle, probably 3/4 of the length down, which is, the length is all right. But what we want to do is go in with a 6mm ball nose end mill and just widen that groove out just a touch to make it easier to round off the corners. The other thing, this cross slide's been starving for oil a fair bit down this way here. Now whether that's related to the design of this oil groove or operator just not oiling the machine enough, we'll never know. So to improve it, I'm going to cut some circles in it. Now I've seen this done before on another machine on a scraping forum, and I thought, well, that's a good option, as I didn't really want to start, I mean, a zigzag groove along here would be great. Now I didn't want to start recutting the original oil groove and just make it look like a total dog's breakfast under here. So I'm going to go with the idea of putting some circles in that will be linked by the existing groove. Now I did run this idea past another person. He's a pretty world-renowned teacher of machine rebuilding and scraping, and that would be Richard King. Now he said that would be all right to do it this way. So I mean, really I can't see any, well, I don't know of any other options, so this is the way we're going to go. So I'm going to get, once we've cut the groove or adjusted this groove, we'll get a tool set up in the boring head and we'll cut the circles. That's a huge improvement on what was there originally. That's good, that. Okay, so we'll get set up and we'll do the other side. So that's a huge improvement on our modified groove. So it has quite a shallow, like a leading edge on it, compared to the original groove, which is just like a pin. Yeah, it's not much in it, so in that old groove, so it can only be but better. So let's get this one cut. Okay, that's our second groove. That came out well. So what we'll do now is remount the cross slide on our milling machine table so it's running parallel with the axis of the table, and then we can get these circular grooves cut in with the boring head. Okay, we've got a tool set up in the boring head, just a round profile tool, and we should tie in with the end of the groove. So we'll do this one, then we'll do the one up the opposite end, and then the three in between we'll just split the equal, well, so they're equidistant apart. So I don't know how this will go. I'm on the lowest speed for high range, which is 450. If it starts carrying on, we'll put the machine into back gear. I'll just come down a bit closer. I just don't want to gouge in when we touch off. Okay, we're there. Okay, we've gone in 0.4 of a mil deep. And yeah, no, that'll be fine. Okay, we'll move down now and we'll do the one up the opposite end. Okay, so that's the one we've just cut. It's a bit hard to pick it on the camera, but I might pop the tool out and just increase the radius on the end of the tool, because we are a bit narrower in the width at the top than our groove here, which is fine, but I would like to see it just a tad wider. So I'll give the tool a regrind. Okay, we're just touching off by hand on the second groove. Put her in gear. Let's see how she goes. Exactly what we want. So giving the tool a bit more radius has greatly improved the groove to exactly what we want. Okay, next groove. Okay, it's that one. and lucky last. Okay, well these will greatly improve the oiling situation. So as the pressurized oil travels along this groove, now it can come around here and it can spread out the whole width. So as the cross slide moves, the oil will be smeared across the whole width of the slideway. So yeah, that will greatly improve the situation. So off camera, I'll cut the ones on this side here, and then that's this part complete, ready for reassembly. Well, okay, we better bring this one to a close here. So actually earlier on today I was over at the new shop just doing some cleaning on the lathe. I've pulled the 10 horsepower motor drives the lathe. I pulled the motor out, stripped that down, removed the bearings. We'll cover that in another video. But yeah, while the motor was out, I've just been getting in there with the kerosene and giving it a good scrub up, all in the casting area below the headstock. So yeah, we'll end this one here, and well, I suppose next video will be, yeah, we'll be over at the new shop working on the lathe. So anyway, cheers, thanks for watching, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you in the next video.